Companies that went full throttle with electrification are now recovering from failed projects and attempting to figure out new ways to stabilize their business models, while the world's largest automaker is enjoying the moment. This became evident with the government's decision to abandon the fast electrification plan that was supposed to make 2/3 of new cars electric by 2032. Made by Toyota, fast electrification battery electric vehicles have been regarded as the sole path towards a sustainable future by the majority of the automotive industry, including Toyota, whose former CEO is now chairman of AKO. This has been the reason why Toyota achieved a record high profit last year. Toyota insisted on a multifaceted strategy towards achieving zero emissions, specifically a considerably more prudent approach to electrification, while duly noting the numerous limitations associated with electric vehicles. At the time, it appeared that Little One was paying attention to their concerns. Although Toyota faced shareholder criticism and was compelled to resign as CEO, it is evident that his assessment was justified, as the majority of the reasons for the company's unprecedented sales figures were as follows. Ford, which only lost over $5 billion on the F-150 Lightning last year and is now forced to postpone future EV investments, is one example of an automaker currently recovering from failed EV initiatives. Similar patterns apply to other automakers. Currently, following the conclusion of the early adopter phase, the middle class exhibits a diminished inclination to adopt EVs in favor of more cost-effective and dependable alternatives. Toyota, in particular, demonstrates this inclination. As a consequence, the company's sales figures for 2023 surged to 11.2 million from 10.2 million in 2022. However, more significantly, the majority of its competitors were already operating at the time. In addition, the market is close to a complete stall, which occurs at the worst possible time given that automakers have yet to figure out how to generate a profit from electric vehicles (EVs). As previously stated, the early adopter phase has ended and electric car growth is now stagnant. The hybrid market, meanwhile, is booming. 63% growth after the previous year was quite remarkable. Recent reports indicate that the first quarter of this year witnessed an even more remarkable growth of over 70%. In any case, hybrid vehicles now occupy a market share exceeding 9%, whereas electric vehicles remain stagnant at 7.2%, representing a marginal regress in comparison to the previous quarter. The growth of hybrids can be attributed to their inherent suitability for the present stage of the automotive market, as they offer a little bit of everything for purchasers and are environmentally friendly. All of these markets, Europe, China, North America, one can anticipate substantial growth in the North American market for hybrids over the next year or so, owing to the complete redesign of two crucial models, the RAV4 and Camry, and the exclusive sale of the new generation in hybrid form factors. Given the impressive sales figures of these models, it's reasonable to assume that the hybrid market will experience the most significant development in the coming year or so. Number 4, a diverse approach is essential. Unlike the majority of automakers worldwide, which focus on the immediate and medium term, Toyota management always could see much further than that. This is in contrast to the majority of companies that have begun to overemphasize EVs. Toyota officials warned everyone that such a unison approach is not sustainable for several reasons. It's not just about the fact that EV technology is immature and that it needs time. There are also some practical reasons, starting from the fact that not all markets around the world are ready for electrification. At times when 1 billion people around the world still don't have access to electricity, it's irrational to talk about full electrification. Instead, Toyota has always been insisting on a diverse approach. Of course, this included hybrids first, and as we've just seen, that strategy has been paying off a lot lately. But in Toyota's book, that's just the beginning, because Toyota is working on so many different ways to achieve sustainability and zero emissions. For years, the Japanese giant has been working on hydrogen fuel cell technology, and while that may never pay off, the company already figured out an alternative approach in the way that it also tests internal combustion engines that use hydrogen. These engines are already in the testing phase and participate in various endurance races, so it's just a matter of time before we see one of these units in a mass production car. Then there's the engine that runs on liquid ammonia, which is another smart way to save energy and offer a sustainable. Number 3, EVs are merely subpar, despite the fact that Toyota is in the process of determining which of the numerous mobility solution options will ultimately bear fruit. Simply put, electric vehicles are inadequate. Toyota and the company's upper management, in their early stages, were cognizant of the fact that rapid electrification would fail due to numerous uncertainties, such as the technology's youth, particularly in regards to batteries and energy storage in general, and the fact that, to put it simply, new technologies are costly and unreliable considering the current state of the market for electric vehicles. road transportation. In addition to elevated costs in terms of dependability, EVs are 80% more problematic than their gas-powered counterparts, according to Consumer Reports. However, that is not the primary reason why the middle class refuses to participate in this transition. Fundamentally, EVs are inadequate. Autonomy is still not at all comparable to that of internal combustion engines, and even the range claimed by the manufacturer is exceedingly difficult to attain, particularly in cold weather or under intensive use. To conclude, the charging infrastructure is still significantly lacking in adequacy, necessitating an entirely new way of life as EES merely complicates matters further. Toyota ranks second. Toyota insists on customer-driven electrification. The Japanese carmaker insists on customer-driven electrification instead of the current way, which is all about governments all around the world imposing new rules and telling customers what to buy for car makers. That turned out to be a massive failure because even though the governments have been pushing EVs hard, the whole process wasn't sustainable from the customer perspective. They're required to pay higher prices for EVs without getting much more in return. And logically, the middle class never embrace EV technology because their decisions are rational, and now with dealer lots piling up, car makers are forced to offer massive discounts to boost sales. Even before these permissions, they were losing a lot of money, and now things went from bad to worse. Meanwhile, Toyota never wanted to be part of this game. Instead, this company never put too much effort into electric cars because they knew buyers were not ready to accept them. Instead, as Aiko of Toyota already stated, Toyota will continue with a strategy that's driven by the needs of customers and dealers and not by some wriggle from governments around the world. And now, when Biden's administration dismissed the electrification plan, Toyota is enjoying its "I told you so" moment while the rest of the automobile world is desperate because of massive EV losses. Toyota makes record high sales and profits. As the industry leader, Toyota achieves unprecedented levels of sales and profits. EV sales continue to increase, but the magnitude of changes compared to prior years is negligible. In other words, the growth falls far short of initial projections. Automobile manufacturers are compelled to adjust to this new reality by deferring planned EV investments. For instance, General Motors is confronted with a perpetual scarcity of fresh capital and may even be compelled to repurchase shares to appease shareholders. Sales reached 11.2 million vehicles in the previous year, but perhaps more impressive is the fact that the company is expanding in every market, except the United States, where its hybrids perform exceptionally well. The company sold well over 1 million hybrid vehicles in the previous year, which is a significant 76% increase compared to 2022. However, the growth in markets where EVs has been expanding at a much faster rate is even more remarkable. Even in China, where massive electrification is the talk of the moment, Toyota managed to increase sales by 17%. This demonstrates that the company has been operating on a higher level of efficiency with hybrid models such as the Corolla Yaris RAV for ETC, in contrast to North America. Excited about the future of electric vehicles? Subscribe for in-depth insights and the latest updates on the booming EV market, and stay ahead in the green revolution.